Hello my YouTube friends, Late Boy Scout here, reviewing the Rat Model 1 folding knife, or Randall's Adventure Training Model 1, by Ontario Knives in Aus 8 stainless steel, as you can see printed right there on the blade, the base of it. And yes, it's made in Taiwan. Don't freak out. I don't mind. It's an excellent knife. Excellent knife for the price. And what's the price of this knife? As low as like 25 bucks. I'm serious. That's like shocking to me. When I bought this, I think I spent somewhere in the neighborhood of 25, less than 30 bucks for including shipping. Now that was just a shocker. I mean, knowing that you can get a knife like this for that price, it's outstanding. Quick comparable, Spyderco Tenacious, definitely in the same ballpark for price and performance, really. G10 handle scales here, right? And they're kind of like the mildly textured G10, not super aggressive G10. Basically the same steel, 8CR 13 MOV on this, and Aus 8 stainless steel is, for all purposes about the same and around the same price. So cool. What I love about this knife, let's just get into what I like about it so much. Why not? Okay, I was playing with this in a knife shop not that long ago. By the way, they had it for a ridiculously high price, so I didn't buy it from them. But I fell in love with it pretty much the first time I deployed it. Like that. Whoa, dude, seriously? It almost feels like there's a spring in there. It almost feels like it. Of course, there isn't, which is just, I don't know. I mean, it's so cool that you can deploy that thing that fast, and that's about all it took for me. I was done. I was ready to buy it. Just needed a better price, which I found. Also, great blade shape, somewhat sort of a drop point here. Good belly, not so much of a recurve, but the point is decent. Can you choke up on this thing? You kind of could. You kind of could get your finger up on there if you really had to, but I wouldn't recommend it because there's not any kind of a detent there, not really a choil. It's just kind of an open space. I'd keep it back here for safety. And the jimping on the spine is a little bit rounded, but also really deep, which means it's going to be pretty effective, if you ask me. And you are asking me because you're watching this video, so I'm telling you, I think it's plenty effective. Plenty effective, yeah. Stainless steel liners throughout, not the least bit drilled, as you can see. Nope, not drilled at all, which means that you get the full weight of that big slab of steel on either side of it, which puts this in at about 5 ounces for the knife. Blade length 3 1/4, handle length about 5. In pocket, it's not super wide, but semi-wide. Let's examine that. Looking at in the neighborhood of 1/2 inch. I've said before that that's kind of wide for me. It is. It's kind of wide for me. But I did EDC this knife for a while. I carried it every day and used it for some everyday carry tasks. And it doesn't feel that bad in pocket, to be honest. I don't think it does. Let's compare it to the Spyderco Manix 2, which is pretty comparable in width and weight. And in pocket, the bulk is very similar. This is also a doable EDC knife. I prefer something smaller, something lighter weight for my main EDC knife, that is to say the one I'll actually pull out and use for utility purposes. But for something that I would carry that's mainly for larger tasks and possibly defensive tasks, defensive tasks, that's funny, defensive encounters, whatever, a larger knife like this is fine for me. And, carrying it and not pulling it out so much, not a big deal. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Handle scales are FRN, if I remember correctly. Not very well textured, somewhat slick actually. However, given everything else that you get with this knife, given that deep choil right here, that locks my finger in there really nicely, and given this really nice jimping here, I don't feel like this is ever going to fly out of my hand if I'm doing any sort of piercing, stabbing cut of any kind. I don't feel like it is. I don't feel like it's going to be a problem. So yeah, minimal traction on the scales themselves, but retention in hand I think is pretty good. Pocket clip is also really decent. Blackened, as you can see. I don't mind it. It's fine. Nothing bothers me about it at all. And that's a nice little emblem right there reflecting the RAT logo. Cool, I like that. Repositionable, here, there. Pretty much this knife is okay for everybody. Decent lanyard hole. It's a full let me see if I can say that again. Full screw construction, which means, yeah, you can take it apart if you need to. Do some maintaining of some kind if you ever needed to. I don't think you'll have to because, again, it's full flow-through. Means that you can blow out the dust and the dirt and whatever pretty easily with a little bit of canned air, whatever you have. So taking it apart is probably not something you're ever going to need to do, but it's nice to know that you can. If you want to make it into sort of a project knife, do some modifications to it. Not hard to do. This is a very popular knife, probably because of the price and because it's just very cool looking and very effective for what it is. One thing I'll note about the steel, Aussate stainless steel, is you might want to know that it's a good steel. It's a very good steel. It'll rust a little bit if you expose it to moisture and let it stay exposed to moisture. And it's not the hardest steel there is out there, but it does keep a pretty good edge. I made the mistake of prying out a staple from a Target and getting a nice little chip in that blade edge. Yes, yeah, it was stupid. Yeah, I'll admit it, it was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. And I've learned my lesson, I won't do it again. However, I did get a nice little chip and had to have this thing professionally resharpened. That's why you'll see a sort of interesting different coloration here on the edge, because he had to throw it on his belt sharpener or whatever it is he uses. Didn't cost much to have that done, but something to note. Great thumb studs. Look good on both sides for righties or lefties. Basically, it's the full ambidextrous knife. Let's talk about the lockup, I guess. How is that? Pretty tight side to side. Actually, I mean, exceptionally tight side to side. I'm feeling some slight wiggle. Some slight wiggle. I don't know if you'll be able to detect that, but I can feel some slight wiggle. And front to back, no movement whatsoever. It's like a bank vault. The Rat Model 1 is an outstanding knife. For the price, I just don't know how you can say no to it. I don't know why you don't have it in your collection, if you don't have it in your collection. This is an excellent knife for, yeah, EDC it works, but I would prefer this knife. I would recommend this knife as something you would dedicate to a kit of some kind. Like an emergency kit that you keep in your car, a bug out bag perhaps if you want to put something like that together. Any number of packs and sort of ready bags that you want to have a decent knife in without having to spend a lot of money on it. Here's the one you ought to consider. Terrific knife, awesome price. Really like it. One last thing, fit and finish wise, some modification that I had to make to it actually was here on the spine of the knife, on the back of the knife. I had to sort of round this down with a little bit of fine grit sandpaper on these edges here. That edge actually cut me somehow. I can't believe it. As I was EDCing this knife, that edge actually gave me a little cut, like on my finger or thumb or something. I don't know how that happened, but it did. I mean, weird, right? So I had to sort of sand that down. It feels nice now, but that's kind of a fit and finish issue that you might experience. I don't know if you'll get that on yours. Also, a model variation for those of you interested in that. You can get this in a blackened blade as well as this satin finished one. You can also get it part serrated in either color. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Yeah, awesome knife. If you don't have it, go get it. I'm the Late Boy Scout. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.